Hey everyone, this is another Walking with Christ podcast. Just wanted to welcome you all in and just say thank you for taking the time to join in. What we've been talking about, what we've been doing in this fellowship journey, this community journey. We're in it together, and I just want to make sure that each and every one of us have a place that we can go, and that's what it's really about. A place that we can go where we feel welcomed in, where we feel that God is truly and genuinely the focus of everything that this is about. And that goes so far to say even this, and I've talked about this in the early onset of doing these podcasts. I want you, quite honestly, and I don't want this to ever get lost, to join this community because you are seeking fellowship with other people who are in the journey of walking with Christ. And wherever you are in that journey is perfectly fine. While also with the nature of you're continuing to wanting to grow in that journey, to be better in that journey. So that's definitely what this is about as well. While when it comes down to like things that you see that are prominent in forums like this in social media, and honestly the reason why I even do it is because we're called to meet people where they are. And right now where a lot of people are is in these social media forums. So quite truthfully, y'all, I had zero interest a while ago in being engaged in this type of forum. It's only because we're called to meet people where they are and also to be obedient to our calling and service to honor God that this path became something that was felt to be part of my purpose. And each and every one of us operate in that in a different way, but also an acknowledgement that how we operate in it should be in accordance to God's will for you. But what I will also say to that is that it was never one of those things to where I decided to join this community, join this forum in YouTube to see how great it could do from a numbers perspective. That's not my interest. The numbers are going to be what the numbers are going to be. Here's the thing. I'd rather hundreds, thousands, millions of people come to Christ, live a life for Christ, than to fill up the numbers on this. The numbers are going to be whatever they're going to be. I don't do it for that. I do it as a commitment, as a call for consistency in that commitment to honor God. Sounds simple, but sometimes the simplest things are the most common things that we're not intentional about, that we're, again, not consistent about. And for me, myself, I try to dedicate myself to exhibiting behaviors by truly embodying behaviors that hold me accountable, responsible to what it means to live a life after God and godliness, and taking those steps to be able to walk with Christ, as the title of the podcast is called. So when it comes to everything, I'd rather you subscribe to God and commit your life to God than subscribe to me. I'd rather that any given day in any given moment, because what He can do for you is far greater than anything I or anyone else can do for you. What you can become by living a life after Him is much more than you can get from living a life for anything or for anyone else. Maintain that focus on what's most important, which is to follow him, to live a life after him. That's where it's at. That's where it's always been. But the deceit of the world will cause you to think it's so many other things. And it's not. As you see, if you pay attention, all those other things do is distract you, cause you to not be a good steward of your time, and ultimately have so many people looking back with regret because they didn't identify how they were being misguided, how they were lacking awareness at an earlier point in life. So that point is past, everyone. What you can do something about is today. What you can do something about is how you lead into tomorrow. What you're doing to prepare for the road ahead. But again, it goes back to what you do today. And whether you choose to do a lot of different things in your journey, do the fundamental things. Stay in your word. Stay in prayer. You know, be a part of whatever community and fellowship you feel like you feel like is helpful to you, or you are helpful to that place. Because as much as it is sometimes a tendency to pay attention to what you get out of things, it's also what you pour into things. Sometimes some people are so quick to say that isn't working for me, or this place isn't right for me. And while that could end up being the case, gotta make sure we're doing our part as well. We don't grow or come into what we're supposed to do under God by just waiting for God to do it for us. We have a part to play. We have a responsibility in that relationship. And it's up to us to make sure we're doing that. As we're talking about all this, I want to go ahead and go to scripture. We're talking about Proverbs 16, 1 through 3, everyone. And this is what it says. To humans belong the plans of the heart, but from the Lord comes the proper answer of the tongue. Something we were just talking about. All a person's ways seem pure to them, but motives are weighed by the Lord. I had a short that I was talking about, you know, how people have accounts, but at the same time, you're going to come to a point when you're faced with God in front of you, and you're going to have to hear him take an account of how you have conducted yourself throughout life. That is the most important association of accounts that we need to pay attention to. Continuing on to verse 3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. Notice, it doesn't say your plans are there. Then if you commit whatever you do, everything will work itself out. That's not what it says. Again, it says commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. I don't know what all this is going to lead to in doing this podcast or anything else that I'm personally, doing. But one thing I do know, and one thing I have found in life, is that when my primary focus is just to simply be a man of God, grow in godliness, study the word, be in prayer. When that's my primary focus, and making sure that my service is pleasing to him, and that it's not just a thing of what I'm reading and praying about, it's also what I'm exuding, what I'm embodying. And for that to really be prominent, for that to be part of how I show up genuinely, that helps to establish your plans. That is prominent in establishing your plans. Again, as I said in previous videos, you're not getting in a transactional relationship with God. That's not the way this works. You live for Him and things are figured out. Things are worked out for His good. And the thing we have to sort out in our mind is that if good has to look a certain way, or if it doesn't matter, as long as good is His way. God bless.